Get in, nerds. We are playing Burden of Command. We are still at the Anzio beachhead. Our last scenario went all right, all things considered. We struck a draw. We had a serious deficiency in armor and anti-tank weapons compared to our enemies, but we did our best. Um, and that ended up going not as well as it could have been, but pretty all right. So, first, let's go to aid your men. We got some casualties, but not too many, and we've got a sufficiency of replacements to deal with them. So, let me see. It's 428 experience point unit. I think we'll put an experience replacement in there. We got a little bit of stress. It's going to cost 2 loyalty to deal with that, so we'll deal with it. This unit's got 2 casualties, so we'll replace them with experienced replacements. This unit has 1. We'll do the same. This unit has 1. We will definitely do the same since I don't want to reduce their number of stars. And that is all of our casualties. Now, this unit has a pretty significant amount of combat fatigue. I don't know that I've got really an answer to that, at least not right now. But yeah, overall we kept casualties within Nickel Company pretty low. Obviously the Rangers and the tanks took some hits, but that doesn't come out of my extremely precious pool of replacements here. So whatever happens with that is what it is, and I am pretty happy with what I'm doing here. I got some prestige in the pot. I got a good pile of loyalty. So I am feeling reasonably confident about our ability to go forward. Really wish I could get a. Since I took a bunch of casualties on Million Dollar Ridge, I don't have a 4-dot squad. I can't bring second squad of third platoon up to 4 stars, up to 5 stars because that would lead to rollover experience, I guess. Still, I don't want to do too much more here. The only thing I'm thinking about is potentially getting Dearborn over the lip in terms of trust, but that's gonna cost me a huge pile of loyalty, and I don't necessarily want to do that because my loyalty, the amount of loyalty I get, is not that high. All right, so that's our aiding of our men. I could have sworn we had more casualties than that, but maybe not. I'm feeling pretty good. All right, so let's go ahead and continue our journey. Never give in, Churchill. Yes, indeed. He was very much a never give in type guy. At least when it came to the war aspect. The international politics aspects, there were some ways in which he gave in, but that was sort of inevitable given the position of America in the whole situation. 3rd February, Anzio, 1944. Mud. Not like we've had mud before. Oh boy, here we go.
We save whatever we can and march into Anzio. Take Anzio. We and our British allies seize Nettuno 2 miles down the coast. And all the while, the Nazi planes keep pasting us.
February 1944. 1600 hours. 3rd Battalion's forward positions are a real mess when you lead your company back to them. The ground is littered with fresh craters. The reek of half-buried bodies assails you whenever the wind shifts the gray, lingering smoke. At night, the moans of the dying drift over from no man's land. Missing the action. The Germans came in force while you were gone, Major Rawson says, as the 2 of you tour the section of the front Nickel Company will be guarding. Artillery, infantry, tanks, the whole works. We got pasted pretty bad. The Major isn't exactly unscathed either. His face is smeared with grime and blood, though you can't tell if it's his. Expect the Germans to try again soon, he continues. Think you'll need anything special to help hold them off? Interesting. Artillery, as much of it as possible. This may affect a future scenario. Reinforcements, if things get hairy. This may affect a future scenario. Something to help my men dig in. This may affect a future scenario. Or we won't need anything, sir. This is an interesting option. I can take a bonus now for a potential penalty later. I'm just going to take the prestige. I'm feeling reasonably confident. I hope so, Rawson replies. The Germans aren't fooling around anymore. I hope we'll be able to push them back before they can set themselves, but if they beat us to the punch, they're going to do their level best to push us right back into the sea. Rawson says after he turns back to you. That moment comes where your men hold. Come hell or high water, sir. We'll try our best. Can't make any promises. Come hell or high water, sir. Well, you might be seeing a lot of both real soon, Captain. Rawson scowls as he squints north toward the German positions. Hold tight, dig in, and prepare for crowd attacks, he says as he turns back towards his own CP. If anything changes, I'll give the word. The word doesn't come. No one rests easy that night. The next morning is as bad as the last. Your men dig in. 500 yards in front of you, men in field gray do the same and wait for the day when one of you is ordered to move forward and kill the other. But that order still doesn't come. The logistics men from the 100th Battalion have offered a deal for the mosquito nets, which, given our conditions, we are obviously not using, Dearborn explains. Oh, okay, so this is Dearborn. I'm not going to repeat the line read. Dearborn explains as you and your platoon leaders tally yet another day of digging in. In short, they'll use the nets to trawl the bay. In return, they've been gracious enough to offer us a portion of the proceeds, prepared in their traditional style. Thompson doesn't look happy about that. In fact, he does everything he can to avoid pulling a face when the 100th and their cooking is brought up. Probably because the 100th Infantry Battalion's traditional style is Japanese. Are we really going to trust them? He finally asks. I mean, you know what their people did at Pearl Harbor. You hear a low droning sound from outside the tent, barely audible, but getting steadily louder. Hey, do you hear any of that? The others nod. Apparently they've been hearing it too. One by one, you head to the big tent's windows and start looking for the source of the droning sound. Then it's drowned out entirely by the low wail of air raid sirens. Standard procedure is to head straight for shelter in the case of air attack, but few of your men do that. Instead, they're watching the sky as a flock of German fighter bombers drone overhead, headed screeching for the supply dumps on the beach. You're not sure you can blame your men for gawking. It's the only excitement they might get all day. The heavens light up with tracers as the anti-aircraft guns fill the sky with fire, but the Germans breeze right through, drop their payloads on the beach, and leave only bright balls of flame in their wake. Goodness gracious, great balls of fire. Then they circle back around, their nose and wings flicker with the muzzle flashes of cannon as they begin to strafe the trenches. One of the German planes crumples in midair as the sky fills with the chatter of 1,000 hellish typewriters. A handful of red-tailed planes dive out of the sun, guns blazing. Friendlies. Jesus Christ, Grant exclaims as he turns to your aide. Top priority, Patterson. Find out who those fellas are, he hollers. I ought to buy him some beers next time we see him. He looks to you as the two opposing formations of aircraft churn into a maelstrom of twirling aircraft, burning tracers and exploding shells. Outnumbered 2-1 and they still go in shooting, he observes. Pretty brave for flyboys. Damn right. Couldn't agree more. It'll be grit like that which will win us this war. I'm always going to go for the most verbose option. It'll be grit like that which will win us this war. Brass or no, Patterson flips through unit identification charts amid frequent pauses to search the sky with your binoculars, hoping for a glimpse of their fuselage insignia. Red tails, found him, he suddenly exclaims. 99th Fighter Squadron. He purses his lips in thought for a second. That color unit of Cappuccino? Negro fighter pilots? Grant asks bemusedly. I thought some egghead in the War Department ruled they couldn't fly, so they might shine from a fight. I grew up around enough colored gentlemen to know they may be as capable as any white man, provided they apply themselves in the same way, Dearborn observes as he joins her impromptu viewing party. I expect the General Marshal is sensible enough to know the same thing. He is a Virginian after all. General Marshall is he's a guy you don't hear about as much, George C. Marshall. He's the chief of staff of the Army, I think, is of the Armed Forces. Not the Army, the Armed Forces, I believe. He's kind of like... Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I think he might be the chief of staff of the Army. But my understanding is General Marshall, George C. Marshall is basically like one step down from the SecDef, basically. He's like... he's kind of an administrative figure in the whole. Now I'm kicking myself because I don't know if he's Army or Armed for or all services. I think he might just be Army now that I'm thinking about it. Anyway, he waves his hand skywards, where the men from the 99th still tangle with their foes. I would reckon that the proof, as they say, is in the pudding. The fight doesn't last much longer. Soon the remaining Germans hightail it for home, with most of the friendly planes in hot pursuit. Not all of them, though. One of the American aircraft peels away from the fur ball. Its engine streams black smoke. The fighter struggles to climb, but then slows noticeably. Before it falls out of the sky, its nose pitches down. Suddenly, it glides right toward your positions. Christ, Grant growls. He's going to crash between us and the Krauts. We got to help him. Indeed, the incoming plane seems to be intent on landing between the trenches, but if your men move out now, it'll be an uncoordinated effort that the Germans will surely pick apart. If he survives the landing, units that leave their trenches and advance towards the Germans will suffer heavy suppression. The Germans are waiting too. Units that leave their trenches and advance towards suffer heavy suppression. Is one life worth that many other? Okay, all of these are the same outcome. I'm just going to say if he survives the landing. If the pilot dies, there's no reason to risk men to recover a corpse during the day. Nightfall will spare additional lives. Alright, so we got to stay in these trenches. Okay, withdraw disabled. Consider preserving your men. Withdraw button enabled by specific. Okay, alright. Alright. Get most VPs. So far, 0 versus the enemy. VPs besides any map VPs above. Axis destroy U.S. Infantry Squad 0 so far. Alright, so we need to destroy enemy squads. Okay. Interesting. So, wait for orders. There's no reason to move forward to the trench line. Not yet. This is a 10-turn scenario. This might be the first one that's an actual defense. Ooh, I don't love this. So what do our sight lines look like? Can't see under that lip there, which is interesting. Mortars don't have any frickin' sight lines. This is, I think that might be a bazooka. And this is our other MG. Yep, got good sight lines there. Let me see. You're a bazooka squad. Okay, so there's a bazooka squad here, and that's it? That might be it. No, I got 2 bazookas. Lieutenant Thompson's got a bazooka. Lieutenant Rao has got a bazooka. Does Lieutenant Dearborn have a bazooka? No, he does not. And Lieutenant Stern has his same usual complement of fellas. So, let me see. So what can I do to put myself in a better position here? This squad could move up because they don't have visibility forward. If they get here, they'll have more visibility this way, which could be useful. So, we might do that. What kind of visibility has this bazooka got? Not much, but they also can't be seen by the enemy. On the other hand, creeping them forward might be useful. The mortars, yep, can't be seen except by units that are up on here. All these units are reasonably well positioned, all things considered. What kind of cover do these tank traps offer? Not much. Alright. So yeah, so if the enemy wants to come across, their best place to do it is here. If they can get to this house, they should be in good stead. There's a path down here that's a good path, but they need to use that. I'm not sure if they're going to. Gosh, I sure would love to have a unit in this house. Oh, that wouldn't actually help me all that much. Interesting. So, if I move this MG to here, that'll offer superior coverage. Here as well. Because again, we won't have this long line of territory where the enemy can walk across. Then again, we do have a visual to all of this with our MG. So that's good. Alright. I think the only thing I'm going to do is move this unit up to here. We'll creep them forward. Let me see. For these units, yeah, I think they're all in a pretty good position. What kind of visibility does this bazooka have? Alright, so only if the enemy comes up this way and suffers the fire of these squads will this bazooka be in a position to be shot at. This MG is facing that way. Alright, that's reasonable. It's a shame I can't face them directly west. Same with this one, because we don't have an MG covering the center advance. But I don't think the enemy's going to move anything up here. Now the question is, do I want to put my other bazooka up a little bit forward? And I think the answer is probably yes. It'll make them more vulnerable to suppression, but on the other hand, they'll be able to shoot if the enemy brings up a tank, which I think might be worth it. I haven't used a bazooka in battle yet. Decisions. So I don't know exactly how effective they are. We're in full cover here. If the enemy brings up a tank, though, it's a tough decision. It's a tough decision because I don't want to be in a position. Well, no, bazookas can move. Actually, I should get a better visual of that. So what I'll do is I'll move them regardless. Anyway, that's all I need to do with Dearborn right now. So we'll halt and we'll see what the enemy does. Cool. Okay. So they've got a visual to one of my units. That's fine. Does this bazooka have the ability to creep? No, they don't. Alright, so this is a weapons unit, which means they can't move and then shoot. Which further means I gotta bring them forward. Alright. Oh, they can. They can. They just can't creep because they're weapons. Alright, cool. These things happen. Alright, so that's all I want to do. We'll point you this way. And that's all we need to do. Can I get a visual to how many things it takes to shoot? Looks like no. Alright. So I'm going to do with Rao right now. Alright. They've got a unit over there. Could I hit them with mortars? Maybe. Let's go ahead and grab Dearborn. I'm going to have him creep to here. MG! Huh. That was weird. But did that cost him all his giblets? I wanted to rally them. Huh. Did I mess that up somehow? It's not great. Alright, I'll need to rally them next turn. It's not optimal, friends. Alright. We'll keep letting them go. Let's take a quick look at where visibility looks like from here. I've got decent visibility here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab stern. Actually, if I can do this with the captain. can. Let's have Captain Murphy shoot some mortar rounds at this heavy machine gun. Hello. Nice. All right. I think that's all I want to do this turn. Assuming the enemy doesn't get up to any other nonsense. Alright, that's turn 1. Airmen down. The pursuit plane coasts towards the shell-pitted earth, silent until it plows into the earth with a sudden, violent screech of tortured metal. Patterson has his binoculars up before the wreck even skids into a stop. He scans the crash site for a moment, then he's still alive! Sure enough, even with the naked eye, you can see the aircraft's canopy pop open, and a tiny figure clamber out, a bright yellow Mae West around his neck. The Germans can certainly see him too. Hell, a blind man couldn't miss this. As you watch figures in field gray gather in their trenches. We're not ready to move, not yet. Units that leave the trench and advance toward the Germans will suffer heavy suppression. The Krauts are going to try to take him prisoner, Grant growls as he checks his carbine. We aren't going to let him do that, are we? Rao and 2nd Platoon could make the effort if they have enough smoke and covering fire. Prepare to advance. The Germans will not let you just waltz in for this rescue, but support is coming. Where is the aircraft? Do I have a visual? Doesn't seem like it. Anyway, we're going to start with Dearborn, and we're just going to rally this unit. No chain of command. Why not? Hold on. I think that's a display bug. Yeah, they rallied.
To me.
They rallied just fine. And I'm going to creep Dearborn back to his own unit. Hopefully he can stay hidden. Alright. So, we're still holding. Enemy unit here. Let's, I don't want to use the mortars just yet, so we'll continue to wait.
Hauptmann in Befehl!
Yep.
Hello, Cottonbalers! Habt eine Soldatenbraut! Das ist ein Heimatschuss!
Okay. Alright, well that's the same thing that happened last time. Let me see. Rao's squad is a little short. So we'll do a rally here.
On your home wound!
And Lieutenant Thompson's a little short as well. Oh, right. But I just activated Rao. So I need to pass the leader turn.
Hey, Kaugummi-Soldaten!
Okay. So, Thompson, you need to... Let me see. Rallying this unit would be ideal. What you do is get to this unit, though. I'm going to rally. Keep this bazooka doing as much as they can. That'll get you your Hootie Waddy back next turn, and then just creep this way. So that you can get to this unit and not get shot. That should be good. Lieutenant Dearborn's going to need to rally the squad he's currently in, because they're a little bit short on morale as well. Oh. He's not active.
Mickey Mouse ist kaputt!
Perfect. That's all Dearborn's got. I'm thinking about moving this squad out so that they're not in the same location as that MG. To do that, I'll need to move Captain Murphy out of the trenches, but I don't think anyone can see me from back here. Because we're thinking about stationing Captain Murphy here. What if Dearborn moves his squad to this building? What does that change in terms of visibility? It's a little better, I think. Well, let's see all of this. Enemy's still not doing anything, so we'll throw some mortar shells on him. Undaunted. More like fun daunted. Just for funsies. Nice. Alright, so I think that's all we'll do this turn. Again, can't leave the trenches yet. Not going to take any unnecessary risks here. Captain, Grant exclaims, the pilot's signaling us. Sure enough, you can see flashing pinpricks of light coming from near the smoking wreckage of the crashed plane. A Morse code message from a signaling mirror. Sparks, what's he saying? Units no longer suffer suppression for leaving their trenches, or say that we're coming to get him. What's he saying? Brevet Sobieski squints into the distance. He says he's not hurt. He asks us for rescue. Your radio officer reports. Hell, there's only one reply to that. The radio crackles. Battalion calling in. They're aware of the situation and approve the rescue. A battery of 105s is now on call with smoke. Smoke and go. If there is a god, then he's... There is a god and he's an artilleryman. Now the Germans just have to cooperate. There is a god and he's an artilleryman. Time for a rescue. The mission: rescue the pilot. Move a squad adjacent. The men suffer no more than very light casualties. There. Interesting. All right. So we've had a wild situation here. We know where the enemy is likely to be. Whoa. It's going to be Lieutenant Rao's squad. Battalion orders rescue, use smoke. I'm going to sure hope I remember that when next episode comes. But yeah, so we'll get the scenario properly started next time. For now, I've had fun. I hope you all have had fun, and I will see you on the other side.